Y'all, we are live right here on Memorial Day. When I think about Memorial Day, I think about, what can we do to leave a legacy? This is the continuation, y'all. This is us continuing the dream. This is us manifesting our dream.
One of the things that Dr. King did was he encouraged us and empowered us to continue to manifest the dream. And the importance of continuing the dream is about continuing to address issues of inequities and injustice that impact, the people. And particularly, African Americans, but all people were impacted by poverty, by homelessness, by housing, by voting rights, by health inequities. And so what we have to do as a community and as a people, continue to give voice to those issues. But we can't do that if we're not connected together. We are a communal people.
If we think about the premise nationally that we're stopping our work to reflect on, it is what were people willing to give their lives for. And during this series, one of the things that I really carried forth into this week is what is the pain that we're choosing. That we would first transform ourselves, and in that transformation, then transform our communities. Because as I change, those who interact with me have a choice to change with me or to find their way.
In hearing the voices to be heard is what really brings about healing. Is when we have the opportunity to share our voices about the things that's going on in our world and in our own personal lives. And when people's voices are heard, they're part of the story. And it's a powerful way of bringing healing to the community. So I love the work that you're going to continue to carry forward to a larger community. I think that's really powerful.
Right. Here's what it looks like to transform. We can't keep it to yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can't empower people this much. Empowerment is like, it's out there in the universe, come one, come all. Yes? How do you feel about that? About creating this space where we are, every voice in here.
Ultimately, your history is your legacy. And it is not, it's not something that, whether you're intentional about it or not, it is developed. And it becomes your story. So the idea of the work that each of you all have brought to this space with a willingness to do that allows us to build a collective legacy.
We each have been empowered. So that's different. It looks different from power of one, but we each have been empowered to go forth to heal ourselves, but also to heal the world. And so when we think about it from that perspective, it's like you say, the power of one. Each person that's in this room, each person that's on the Zoom, have made a conscious choice that I want to be changed and I want the environment that I'm in to be changed. And so my legacy is touching those around me as I go forth in a good way.
So this image I love so much because it is about saying when I transform, that caterpillar, when it becomes a butterfly, it is no longer.
Yeah.
It doesn't remember what it was like to scooch on a limb. It is free. So this is about really setting ourselves free, the freedom to be all that we can be, right? It's exciting.
Doing it together really validates that our humanness, that there's nothing wrong with us when we, maybe get stuck in issues or we find ourselves feeling less than someone else or having limited belief. When we do it together, each one of us have a story. And when we're honest and authentic about sharing that story, it really brings healing to us, but it also let the person sitting next to you say, oh, I am okay. I'm not the only one that's going through some things, that's experiencing some things. So working together in community is really powerful. Once we are aware of something, then we can acknowledge it. once we acknowledge something, we take the power away from it. It no longer hoards power over us. So I think that the importance of just acknowledging, being aware, is really great first steps in helping us to get unstuck. And like I say, it's part of the journey. It's the journey of life. It's a part of that self-care and that self-awareness of who you are that you have to keep doing over and over again.
Levels of awareness is the step before transformation. You're actually still a caterpillar. You just see that there's someplace I can go. You start to get into that next level of the chrysalis, right? But you ain't there yet, right? It's not until you start to do what we're going to do this week and really think about beliefs. That's where the transformation happens.
So the beliefs that I have now is that can transformation happen? Yes, but it's also a choice. So I had to make that choice.
Yep.
Sometimes you're going to hurt people's feelings. Sometimes people are going to not want to associate with you. Sometimes people are going to curse you out because you're challenging a system that there should not be no resistance. It's just hear and obey and you do what I say.
Yeah.
But now the belief system allows me to be a free man's life.
Sometimes we carry the thoughts that's inside of us on the outside, and so the power of just being changed is that you didn't have to say any words, but just your outer countenance exemplify the smile and your face, and that's the power of I know we're going to be talking about belief, but I think the power of transformation is what we carry into the world. If we're healed, we carry more healing into the world. And so that's powerful that we expand. I can look at everyone in this room. I cannot tell you what's going on inside of you. But that assessment really gives you an opportunity to look at yourself. And even if I knew something that was going on with you, and I told you, you wouldn't believe it. Then we start to, project it back on others. But the assessment really is an opportunity to intentionally see ourselves.
What are we transforming? The innermost, most foundational seed thoughts or core programming that we are in this space calling beliefs. So we're going beyond the place that many other models stop. So what are you thinking? What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Reflect, reflect, reflect. Those are all questions at the thought level. But what gives rise to the thoughts that we're reflecting on? So that's where the real power for permanent change lives. Because you can change your thoughts, but the beliefs that gave rise to the thoughts are still firing and informing and, feeding the thoughts. And then you can backslide or regress. But when you've done the clean out and the changing of the inner forms, then you become a new creature. Once the caterpillar becomes transformed into a butterfly, it cannot go back to caterpillar. So that is the power of transformation. It creates new creatures, new beings, the new man, the new woman. We have weak muscles in going deep. So then when it comes time to do it, it's like trying to lift an 80-pound weight, but your muscles have only been built up to 5 pounds.
Right.
So you gotta work the muscle. And so going beyond thoughts to beliefs is like the 80-pound weight. And a lot of us have never lifted that and haven't prepared ourselves to lift that. But that's what needs lifting now.
I was really excited about the scientific elements, right? The things that the neuroscience, because it's guaranteed to work, But I'm a believer too. And so I had to kind of combine those two things, which is why connecting with Reverend Dr. Linda Smith and connecting with my pastor on work that they've been doing anyway to help us get better. It's like, when you bring the scientific and the spiritual together, it's everything. You cover all the bases. You're guaranteed to work if you work it. And it's about ease and flow. So when you look at your beliefs, there is a process. There's a step-by-step process that we're going to talk about today. And we're going to ask you to work that muscle.
I actually adopted this working in corporate America. And the belief is that 50% of what people say is true. And the way that this shows up is, the more a person talks, the more content, I believe, like some of that is probably true and some of it probably isn't, just because inherently we like to embellish the truth. We like to feel grand. We like to feel important. Let's talk about the risks. Let's talk about so I'm more reserved and more analytical. And it has actually worked for me because it has set me apart and put me in positions in corporate where part of my job was to work with people and the other half was to work with data. So there's some benefits, and jobs in data pay more. So it served me well.
So Miss Tracy, with the multiple degrees and the multiple certifications and the blah, 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 all the things, for some reason, when I transitioned out of corporate, I felt like in doing something else, I wanted to do I needed some extra certifications and optimizations and validations and, really. So now I say, I don't need nothing else.
My parents are like brother and sister today. What they agreed upon is how I would come into the world and how I would navigate the world. But for me, I saw myself as a constant diplomat. Every holiday, how much time at this house, etc. So think about the patterns of that. Holding on is this idea that I will be here every Monday.
I've been dealing with friends and folks and myself, and it seems like to transform at this age and this time, you have to deal with that childhood. And I would like to see some of that in the beginning, because it comes out if you're true to yourself, what's going on. But if you think about it, everybody talked about this, how they had to transform and work wherever they are now. And of course, God is in the piece, because we're here in our church and doing the work here. So that's understandable. But somehow we need to deal with that childhood piece.
Yes. The way I'm doing this is $1,000 per person for training. And in my mind, it was better to give it all away, right? And that was because God said, give it all away. When God speaks, let me just be clear. You talk about letting go. Woo! There is some peace and power in the surrender. I believe walking surrendered is the only way to be. I believe when you hold on and think you're going to work it out, and he's like, I got you. Go work it, Lord. And when I say there's miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle that has shown up in my life when I show up surrendered, it's also scientific that says if I believe that every situation can be turned into a gift and an opportunity, this is going to work out for my good. It's scientific.
A way that you survive is that you cover up, the struggles, the pains, and the hurt that you have to go through. And so as an adult, I found myself, really, like you say, high achiever, working all the time. I probably still do a lot of that now. Right. But a lot of that came out of just as a child, feeling like you got to survive. But I have to talk to the inner child in order for that inner child to be healed.
Self-love is knowing who you are, living your life from within. And from within means in a way that you can shine and smile and love yourself to a point that you don't have to believe anything else except that you're here for a purpose, and that is a divine purpose. And you are divine. When we think we're human, sometimes that takes us down. But being divine within ourselves and knowing what love is me. Love is you. And we were born in love. And we were born as our creator. And we are the creator. So we have to see ourselves better than negativity, or I'm bad, or I did something wrong, or I feel guilty. All those things can be set aside. And we really, really know how to love. Just allow yourself. Just tell yourself in the mirror, I love you. And I love you, for sure.
Beliefs are critical, and many times we don't even know where we receive the beliefs that we have. So you must make sure that you are examining, why do you believe what you believe? And especially, why are you not believing the best and the positive? Why are you not making your mind think on those things that are good and pure and lovely and whole? So dig deep. We have to root these things out, people. And our mind, as we know, our mind takes us everywhere. So it's a matter of helping yourself understand what it is you're thinking, why it is you're thinking it, and you can always choose to think better.
Each and every person in this room having a unique calling, a unique gift. And I think it's so important that we embrace that about ourselves, because when we come to that realization, we become very comfortable at just showing up in a room as who we are. Because we understand there's nobody else in the room that can do what I can do. And when we accept that reality about ourselves, it causes us to walk differently. It causes us to show up differently. And then when you recognize that it was the Creator Himself that gave me this unique gift, nobody can take that away.
Living powerfully, if I could really explain that, is optimization and life growth. That means always meditating, always striving, and always optimizing one's health. It's a series of health missions that we constantly always strive for. So the journey's never complete. It's something that you're always striving for. And once we're always doing that, that's how I believe you live in power and you stay in power forever. Yeah, absolutely.
When you talk about belief, you have to understand that if you say you believe something, you don't know it, right? You're guessing, you're hoping, you're wishing. But when you know it, you can start to really build a foundation that's true. You can't live on a belief, but you can live and thrive on a knowledge, right? We know certain things about us. We know that we're divine. We know that we're healthy. We know that we're home. And so we get there, right? If I believe it, I might not get there. I might not believe it tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? We know it every day. Knowledge is power.
I've been suffering from PTSD literally for an extended period of time. I found myself driving sometimes, white knuckling it, and I'm pretty dark. So, if I got white knuckles, I'm holding the thing. I'm holding the steering wheel pretty tight. Tears rolling down my eyes. If it's dark and rainy, I was getting my hair done in Linwood about 6-7 months ago. And it was dark, it was raining, same kind of environment when I had this accident 2 years ago. And I found myself Lord, just get me home. I just want to make it home. I had some work, and I'm still doing some work, and I'm feeling 1,000 times better because I believe that God's got me. God got me there too.
We have to reflect the brilliance of our past. And that's what honoring Black Wall Street is really all about. It's reflecting the brilliance of our past. When we see all of these amazing vendors lining 23rd and Jackson, it's another reminder of the brilliance we come from. When you think about what it means to get better together, this is really what it looks like in practice. And honestly, a lot of our history through a lot of different Black Wall Streets all over the country really showcase to us what we can do when we do come together.
A process of growth. Letting go is part of your transformation process. You will change yourself when you understand that life is made up of many endings and deaths. You will grow when you learn how to navigate those endings and emotional death. You will become kinder when you learn how to turn suffering into hope. You will help others and often put their needs before yours when you understand how great it is to cross a bridge and not to run through a muddy valley. Everything that you do will be proof that you let go of your old self. You changed, you mended your heart, you outgrew your brokenness and became a healing soul in this ruthless world. You changed yourself beautifully, inside and out. So go in peace and love, my beloved friends, knowing that you are a masterpiece in the making and that God has more for you than you could ever imagine. Be blessed, my friends.
We can have so much peace that no matter what we face in our lifetime, it's not enough to offend us because we know that God is in control. The song is, I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
Wow. Wow. More to come, y'all.
It was nice.
Wow.
All right.
Thank you.